Does everybody remember when female characters in gaming were actually attractive and were made for the male gaze? Now instead of attractive females, we get body type 2s and body type Bs who have mansions, peach fuzz, and have zero curves to save their life. I remember when creating pretty women wasn't seen as being unrealistic and beauty was the standard, but now it's all of a sudden fine to be a fat, disgusting fuck and to look ugly because, you know, pretty people make the uglies feel bad about themselves. We can't have our 300-pound multicolor hair land whale over here feeling bad that Jessica and other women are better looking than her and are more healthy. Fat acceptance, am I right? These brain-dead game developers and CEOs keep trying to cater to a non-existent audience. Like, why do us gamers have to be okay with mediocrity? And with the advancement in graphical fidelity, why have women been getting more ugly and disgusting instead of more hot and sexy?
Real talk.
But yeah, so I decided I wanted to showcase the beginning of women being introduced in video games all the way up to current day and the future by showing everybody how good we used to have it, how good we used to eat, and how far we have fallen as a society to where we think it's gay to not be attracted to these androgynous creatures, these aliens pretending to be women. So let's take you back to the past, not to play shitty games that suck ass, but to admire what we once had and how us chuds used to rule gaming, and how these base developers would cater to us on a silver platter, the finest handcrafted women your eyes would ever see. Alright, so let's go back to the Stone Age of gaming, back when games only had like one button and a control stick at most, and you had to get very imaginative with what something is by like squinting your eyes. And despite these primitive caveman games being extremely simple, at least the women were hot. Like, from what I've seen and found out, this is one of the first ever games to feature a female character, and you actually get to play her. It launched back in 1981, and it is basically just a Pac-Man clone. However, to give our queen Ladybug some credit, she came out an entire year before Miss Pac-Man, which launched in 1982. And let me just say, I wasn't a kid back in the 80s because I wasn't like born during the Great Depression or some shit. However, if I was a kid back then, let's be real, would all be gooning to Miss Pac-Man. Like, despite just being a yellow circle thing, she is packing the cake with those like sexy lashes, the lipstick, the eyeshadow, the heels, and the bow tie. Like, goddamn, what a stunning creature.
You ain't funny.
Somehow Miss Pac-Man is hotter than modern women, you know, such as Will Smith's wife from Intergalactic. Like, I wonder why nobody was crying woke back in the 80s. Oh yeah, that's right, because the left hadn't hijacked that word yet, my bad. We did have other female protagonists back in 82 like Billy Sue from Wabbit. Then in 83 we got Tropical Angel, which features you as a sexy lady in a bikini as you ski through the waves, which if you notice anything about her, it's probably the fact that if a modern day game dev saw her, they'd be fuming saying like that's unrealistic body proportions and shit for women, and you know, that's like toxic or something. But yeah, I'm just going to briefly mention most of these females till we get a bit further along when game devs became increasingly more based with each passing year. 85 we got Ninja Princess, where you play as a princess who is a ninja. However, let's be real, nobody gives a shit about Ninja Princess, okay? Let's just keep it a $1.27.
Real talk.
Because this is the year we also got Princess Toadstool, aka Princess Peach in all of her 8-bit glory. From here on out, things are only going to get increasingly better because it's really only up from here until, you know, we get to like modern day times, but that isn't until like another 30 years from now. The following year, Metroid releases in 86, which nobody at the time knew behind this armor was one of the sexiest video game characters to ever be released. I mean, until they beat the game, that is, of course. Then in 86, we got Princess Zelda to add to the list of hot video game characters we can goon to. Now we are going to go to the 90s. And this is the decade things really start heating up. Starting the decade off strong, we get the release of Street Fighter 2 in 1991 with Chun-Li. See, the 90s and early 2000s were a time when not only was the players like gooners, but so were the developers. They knew exactly what they were doing when they made Chun-Li. Notice how she isn't a fat, disgusting girl boss either. You know, she's elegant, diverse, cause notice she isn't a basic ass white bitch. She hits the gym, like, cause, you know, look at those thighs. But yeah, you know, very attractive, you know, character. character, let's be honest. Also in 1991, we got the Dark Queen from Battletoads. Again, like I said earlier, it's only up from here, and we'll actually bookmark and save this for later. Not to like goon to it or anything, but I mean, like, she is packing, like, I'm not gonna lie. I could probably fix her, but yeah, 1992, we got the release of Mortal Kombat with Sonya. Then in 93, we also got another Mortal Kombat with much better females. Not trying to knock Sonya or anything, but like, let's just be real, let's keep it a buck 93. Both Kitana and Mileena are way hotter than Sonya is. Like, it's not even, like, they're not even in the same galaxy, okay? Let's be honest. They look good now, right? Well, just wait till we see how badly they butchered them in the newest Mortal Kombat games, and what they have done to our women in general, and how the woke mind virus can only destroy and never create anything good or original. Also, in 93, we got Cammy from Street Fighter 2 New Challengers. And no, Cammy and Chun-Li did not originate from Fortnite, little Timmy, okay? They were way before your time. Now, 1996 was a massive year for gooners all over the world, because no matter what games you were into, whether it be being a white woman raiding the native tombs with guns and shit, or a dude who loves fighting games, or maybe you were much more into survival horror, surviving the night in a zombie infested mansion with zombie dogs, BOWs, you were eating real good in 96, because we got probably one of the biggest gooner franchises to ever exist released, that being Dead or Alive, with characters like Kasumi and Ayane. The introduction of Lara Croft back when she was packing the cake before she got heavily nerfed in the curves department, and also Jill Valentine and Rebecca Chambers from Resident Evil. Like, goddamn, what a year to be alive and to be a proud chud. If you are a fellow base chud who wears that name like a badge of honor, make sure to like this video and join my Latina kingdom by smashing that subscribe button like you smash your anime waifu body pillow, okay? And also join my Latina kingdom Discord server, where I, your Latina queen, will never let you down, and you will be free from the oppression and discrimination of these soy boy degenerate beta male losers. First 100 members get OG Latina status, by the way. Don't be late, join now. 1997, we are ending the year hella strong. Like, goddamn, what a great decade full of women that aren't girl bosses, that are feminine and actually act like women, but at the same time are also badass and cool. But yeah, we got the launch of Final Fantasy VII, which features to this day still one of the most OP women, who is still captivating men till this very day, almost 3 decades later. I'm obviously and of course talking about the actually stunning and brave, actually big mommy milkers Tifa. Sorry Aerith bros, Tifa is better. I'm sure people like Griffin Gaming are gonna go into Chop Suey watch after this one, but it's true. I mean, like, Aerith ain't bad though. We also got Yuffie for all the degenerate cheese pizza eating bros out there. But yeah, the 90s was truly a great decade, full of some of the most iconic women in gaming history. You see, gaming hasn't always been woke, and women being in video games doesn't make it woke, alright? What makes shit woke is when you put ugly, disgusting creatures in video games LARPing as women, when anybody with an IQ above 62 can easily tell you that's not a woman. Like, I don't need a magnifying glass to tell you Mangela from Silent Hill 2 Remake isn't actually a woman, okay? I can spot that thing as a man a mile away, alright? But yeah, now we are moving on to the based and edge KINO early 2000s, the best time in history to be alive, in my opinion. We got the Ridge Racer girl from Ridge Racer 5, and also the actually attractive Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark, and not a man pretending to be Joanna Dark. 2001, we got Cortana from Halo Combat Evolved, and also Kiera from Jak and Daxter, which she pretty bad, not gonna cap. 2001, Tekken 4 released, and we got the hot Brazilian Christy, which I'm not a huge fan of Tekken, but I looked it up and Christy is not in Tekken 8 or 7, which seems like a crime to me. Like, can we get a hashtag bring back Christy, please? I might actually pick up Tekken 8 for that updated high definition Christy. 2002, we got the release of Star Fox Adventures. Now, say what you will about Star Fox Adventures, whether you hate it or love it, you have to admit what most people remember from this game is not Star Fox himself or helping some retarded Triceratops dinosaur. Nah, it's you playing as Crystal at the prologue of the game. Now, me personally, I'm not a degenerate furry, but 2002 is definitely your year if you do happen to be a furry degenerate. Like, I will say this though, if I was a furry, I'd probably go for Crystal, not gonna lie. But yeah, we also got Taki from Soul Calibur 2, which, I mean, like, this right here is just a peak. Like, it's actual peak, it's perfection. Like, look at that body. This is peak gaming right here. Imagine if modern day developers could make women look like this again in games and give them those levels of jiggle physics. Like, oh my god, like, that's chef chef's kiss right there. Then in 2003, we as gamers were blessed with the Edge KINO Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball. I mean, like, do I even need to say anything about this game? Like, just look at the game. The game speaks for itself. You see, the difference between developers back then and developers of today is back then the developers didn't hate their audience, and probably because all of them were white men and the old disgusting hag Anita Sarkeesian wasn't a thing at this point, and diversity hires also did not exist, and gaming companies knew their audience. But yeah, have we noticed any patterns so far with these early 2000s and 90s video game females? Yeah, not a single one of them looks like a hag, is fat, or has a mansion. 2004, we were blessed with more mommy milkers from the release of Ninja Gaiden Black on the original Xbox with Rachel. We also got Metroid Zero Mission, which gave us the literal peak in perfection Zero Suit Samus. Thank you, Nintendo. I remember when you used to consistently put out quality games and it didn't take you 5 years to put out a below average game like you do on the Switch. Yeah, Nintendo fanboys can cope because Nintendo has gotten more lazy over the years, and both the quantity and quality of their games have heavily decreased during the Switch era due to how many brain-dead Nintendo cocksuckers there are who will consume any dog shit product they put out no matter what it is. We also had the release of the original God of War in 2005, which features Kratos before he started drinking Soylent and taking estrogen pills like he did in God of War Ragnarok.
There she is! Look! Hey, mother! I do not wish to fight you! Beta!
In the original God of War trilogy, the devs were full-on gooners, featuring sex scenes and naked women in the bed, truly base times. Too bad David Jaffe is now a cuckold soy boy beta male loser who cries over Trump all day, and the wastest gamers. Like, imagine being a 50-year-old man defending Naughty Dog's Intergalactic just because you want to own the chuds. But yeah, these were different times. Naughty Dog was still putting out good games, Sony was still putting out good games, and best part of it all, Sony wasn't trying to push any bullshit DEI propaganda. The PS2 era was truly the Edge KINO era of gaming.
Like, real talk.
And after the PS3, it was all downhill, especially with the PS5. That is probably one of the biggest piece of shit consoles to ever release. Even the Wii U had more to offer than the PS5. What do we have on the PS5? Demon Souls, a remake of a PS3 game, Spider Trash 2, God of War Ragnarok. I guess we also have Astro Bot, but you know, that's about it. 2005, we were also blessed with the ultimate true Edge KINO Devil May Cry, the best Devil May Cry. DMC3 is better than 5. Cope. But yeah, we got Lady, the badass chick with a fucking bazooka. 2006 was one of my personal favorites for obvious reasons. We got the release of Dead Rising, a cult classic zombie game where you play as Frank West and must survive 72 hours trapped inside a mall for like the helicopter to arrive. But yeah, Dead Rising features the most beautiful Latina Isabella, a fellow Latina ally of the Latina kingdom. Like, let's be real, Isabella is perfection, okay? Let's just be honest. 2007, we got the Princess Rosalina from Super Mario Galaxy. 2008, Lara Croft from Tomb Raider Underworld. And again, notice how Lara still looks hella fine. We got Soul Calibur 4 with Sophia in the updated Taki and higher definition and more pixels. Like, let's be real, who can complain about that? We also got Bayonetta in 2009, an action game very similar to games like Devil May Cry or the old God of War, where you would play as Bayonetta, a Umbra witch, and she'd like summon demons with her hair. Pretty Edge KINO, not gonna lie. 2009 came out the good Dragon Age, and arguably the only good Dragon Age Origins. We are closing the decade off strong with Morgan and the succubus lady. Like, times were simpler back then. Women were attractive, men weren't being discriminated against for being chuds. We were all happy and living in peace and harmony. But unfortunately for us gamers, this would be the last decade of true greatness, because as we all know, the following decade of the 2010s is going to be the beginning of the end. However, at least we still have a few more good years left to go before everything turns to complete shit. 2011 was one of the last good years for Mortal Kombat, and is where the franchise peaked with Mileena and Kitana, because afterwards and at the start of MKX, we are going to start seeing massive nerfs to all the women in the looks department. Like, most will still look good in Mortal Kombat X, but you can see the subtle nerfs and the developers starting starting to become, you know, bigger fucking pussies. 2013, we got Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite, and she shows that not every woman needs to be, you know, a supermodel as long as, you know, they're cute or some shit. But yeah, 2013 was one of the last good years left for gaming, because obviously from this point forward, the women are going to start being hit with the ugly stick. They're going to be getting man chins, big fucking heads, and their curves will be toned down and non-existent. But the gameplay aspects of the games will also be toned down and more shit, because this is around the time of Gamergate, Anita Sarkeesian, and the Me Too movement. This is the year the woke bullshit really started to ramp up. It was already forming in the back in the the shadows of the late 2000s, early 2010s, but now it's actually seeping its way into gaming, and this is the beginning of the end. This is when developers really started trying to appeal to the modern audiences,
to a modern gaming audience.
and there is no better title than Dragon Age Inquisition, released in 2014. We can see how they nerfed our girl Morgan, and this was also the game that featured Krim, a transgender character. Wow, so progressive, and people still suck off this dogshit game pretending Inquisition is actually good. You're a fucking idiot if you like Inquisition, let's just be honest, okay? The only good Dragon Age is Origins. This is also the time when we would start seeing much more women in the gaming industry, as with the push for diversity. As before in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, more than 90% of the developers were men, probably 95%, let's be honest. Really, the only women in the industry were the ones working on stuff such as the soundtrack or maybe the artwork, but you know, the men did the majority in the hard lifting of the work. Is there a coincidence with, you know, the women joining the gaming industry and women in gaming becoming more ugly and gaming the games becoming more dog shit? I'll give everybody a hint. Yes, women ruin gaming, and that's how and why gaming has become so much less cool, edgy, and more gay. Alright, moving on. In 2016, we would also see more gay shit and our gay lord and icon Overwatch, with characters like Tracer being gay. Thank you, Blizzard. Do we see and notice the pattern already? If not, it's going to be extremely clear in a few more years. If your pattern recognition part of your brain is off for some reason, or disabled, or maybe you're just disabled, which, you know, is okay. I'll explain it in a bit for all my wheelchair viewers out there, okay? Don't worry, your Latina queen has your back. 2017 though, we also see Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, a game literally nobody cares about and has been astroturfed into the fucking stratosphere. Now, Aloy isn't necessarily ugly per se, but you can look at her body and what she is wearing and compare it to the past females, as with her face. We had gotten such as you can compare her with such as Taki, Tifa, Ayane, Melina, etc. But yeah, we also got the hideous Senua, which well, let's be honest, nobody gives a shit about.
Disgusting black creatures, get out of my sight.
2017, we got the Spider-Man game by Insomniac featuring Mary Jane, which she was pretty enough in, but again, you can clearly see the shift. We haven't gotten to full-on mask-off, disgusting, hideous creature just yet, but we can see that it's a slow transition over time. Now, I already know I'm gonna get a bunch of fucking retards in my comments complaining about every little thing I've said, and also saying, what, bro, you actually think Mary Jane is ugly in the original Spider-Man? You just call everything woke or some bullshit like that. But no, I'm not saying she is ugly. However, my point is to show the slow transition over the years and how we got to the point we are at now, you fucking moron. All you idiot gamers have allowed this shit because none of you morons saw this coming, because it wasn't just black and white, you know, it wasn't like that. It wasn't just a black and white difference overnight. We can clearly see how these incompetent activist diversity hire developers have seeped their way into gaming, and how they slowly have poisoned gaming as a whole in the damage that they have caused. 2019, we got the girl from Control. I don't even care to look up her name, but we can see how women have been getting fatter and more square chins compared to our queens of yesteryear. 2019 was the death of Mortal Kombat with the launch of MK11, which every single woman in the franchise got hit with the ugly stick about 20 times at bare minimum. Look at our girl Scarlet, for example. She really transitioned into being a Muslim from the past Mortal Kombat games. Literally full-on hijab mode activate. Literally in full-on hijab attire. I didn't know that the Mortal Kombat games took place in the fucking Middle East, but I guess this hijab is actually really empowering for Scarlet, since hijabs are apparently the power icon for feminists, despite the fact that, you know, hijabs were originally created by Muhammad and enforced because he couldn't keep his ding dong in his pants. But you know, that's besides the point. Women empowerment and shit, am I right? But yeah, they pretty much made every woman ugly, and it's only gonna get worse from here on out. Gears 5, we would get the first female protagonist, and we also got Apex Legends with We Was Kang's Lifeline in Bangalore. Like, my god, what have they done to like women?
Disgusting black creatures, get out of my sight.
They are trying so hard to normalize ugliness. 2020, the start of a brand new decade. A decade where we will be seeing a complete nosedive off of a cliff, because yes, we have been seeing the decline in real time at this point, as I've been showcasing, but as I showed, it was a steady decline. But at this point, at the turn of the new decade, things will really be full-on mask off, with video game developers in full-on hate mode towards the, evil white male audience who plays their games. These new diversity hires with no talent are going to be as blatantly fucking racist towards white people as they possibly can, despite only being in the positions that they are in, because white people were being discriminated against and intentionally not being hired based on the color of their skin, and also being let go because they were white and to hire more, people of color. But somehow, in the same breath, these pigs will claim that exclusion of a race is somehow diversity. We are truly dealing with some of the most retarded people on planet Earth at this point. But enough rambling, let's see what the year 2020 has in store for us. Starting off really strong, we got the release of the masterpiece, The Last of Us 2 by Neil Cuckman.
Old man. You don't get to rush this.
Hole in one. Nice shot.
And which now has Ellie full-on homosexual mode and is extremely fucking ugly, especially with these nasty tattoos. We got bodybuilder Abby, which is just physically impossible for a woman to attain these arms. Not to mention, this is the fucking zombie apocalypse or whatever, where resources are like supposed to be scarce, and for some reason the soy boy cuckold men let Abby eat all the food. So fucking stupid. Also, Capcom was really starting to push the woke agenda as well with Resident Evil 3, where they made Jill a girl boss, completely changing her character as with uglifying her face.
It's done. Give me the vaccine, you greedy son of a bitch. Look, just so you know, this is the last fucking time. Come on! Next time, take a fucking hit!
It's the small changes, it's the subtlety that you have to notice. Also in 2020, we got the dogshit Marvel Avengers game by Square Enix, which, again, it just speaks for itself, especially when you compare it to the old designs or just Marvel rivals. Remember earlier in the video how I said I wouldn't be gooning to the Dark Queen and I'd have that shit bookmarked for later? Well, here we are now, and let's look at the new Battletoads and what they did to our queen. This is some feminist bullshit. This is for the modern audience version of the Dark Queen. Fuck you, Microsoft. 2021, we can see the de-evolution of Cortana with the release of the dogshit game known as Halo Infinite. I just want to say though, I cannot stand 343, most incompetent virtue signaling retards in the gaming industry, and now they are trying to rebrand as something new because all the bad stigma around the name of 343. Why is Microsoft and Phil Spencer so incompetent? Really, any other company would have shut down 343 by now, but nope, not Microsoft. They are just a-okay with 343 destroying their biggest IP, completely fine with that. Nothing wrong with burning money. Fuck Microsoft and fuck Phil Spencer. At least though, we have some breath of fresh air with the Resident Evil Village. Capcom is 1 foot in and 1 foot out with this woke shit. It's like they are trying to simultaneously trying to get those woke virtue signal points, but also want actual gamers. But obviously I'm referring to Lady D here, which yeah, unfortunately for, our queen Lady D, her big mommy moo moo milkers couldn't save the dogshit game known as Resi Village. Let's just be honest here, the game wasn't good. 2021, we got some true Sony slop where you literally play as a grandma in Returnal. How diverse, because that's always what I picture in my mind when I want to play a video game. I want to be a space grandma. Go fuck yourselves. 2021, we got more dog shit with Battlefield 2042 with, guess what, another granny operator. Wow, I think the 2020s might be the year for, grandmas and GILF inclusion. Am I right? Go fuck yourself, DICE, you piece of shit company. 2021, we got Deathloop, and most of these, the pictures and the gameplay just speak for themselves. Just look at it. 2022, we got Horizon Forgotten West, because let's be real, nobody remembers this dogshit game, which is a reoccurring theme for the 2020s. Dogshit game with dogshit ugly female protagonists, girl bosses that nobody likes. We got that Nikocado avocado alloy with Peach Fuzz. Truly, we have come so far in gaming. We now have Peach Fuzz as a selling point for a video video game. Don't we all just love Sony? 2022, we got the Saints Row reboot and the brown lesbian woman and other brown woman with glasses. I'm so glad Volition got shut down, and I'm also so glad that these diversity hires are continuing to burn down people's childhood franchises one by one. 2023, we got Mansion Mary Jane, where Insomniac went out of their way to make Mary Jane as ugly as possible. And did you remember what I said earlier? It's a slow transition. You were all probably calling me a fucking sexist idiot who calls everything woke, but no, motherfucker. If you inject DEI slowly, the average NPC gamer won't notice till it's too late. Baldur's Gate 3 came out in 2023, and it's genuinely one of the most degenerate games of all time. Not to mention you can do shit like fuck a bear. Normalizing bestiality is the next step on the leftist checkboxes, I guess, before, you know, the inevitable normalization of cheese pizza, which is another thing these leftist freaks are advocating with things such as maps or people like Voss trying to normalize it. In the year 2023, we also got the Dead Space remake, where the developers went out of their way to change the posters on the walls to be more diverse and shit, and where they uglified and aged up every woman by, you know, about 20 years. Truly, this is really the age of the gilfs. But I think for most normal people such as myself, we aren't interested in grandmas. 2023, we also got Alan Walk 2 with that black woman you play as for half the game, despite the game being named after Alan Wake. You play as Saga Anderson for like 50% of the game. We also got Forspoken with everybody's favorite stereotypical black teenager who collects shoes and commits crimes, which I don't know if like Square Enix was secretly trying to be based, but if so, I take back everything bad I've ever said about Forspoken. Redfall also launched, which was another Xbox flop, which seems to be every Xbox game that releases nowadays. Xbox cannot make a good game if their life depended on it. Also, Phil Spencer literally does nothing and allows these incompetent developers to slack off 24/7. So yeah, that's why Xbox is dead. Thank you, Phil Spencer. Wow, we are already almost caught up with the current year. We are only 3 years into the 2020s so far, and we have seen the massive change in how these blue-haired freaks develop and create females now. And the saddest part is, it's really not slowing down or stopping anytime soon. Sure, the occasional base dev, a Chinese dev or Eastern dev might release a game with an attractive female, but for the most part, those are few and far between. Even most indie developers are cuckold F words, and no, I'm not talking about the word that rhymes with suck. It's the other F naughty no-no word, because most indie devs are also creating and pushing this woke bullshit DEI, as with uglifying women and toning down women as well. They just can't help themselves, like they really can't. And I haven't even brought up the influence of Sweet Baby yet, and how most Western devs have been teaming up with them to make their games more diverse. So instead of having hot, attractive babes to play as, we get to like play as fat, obese black women in like wheelchairs. Maybe that's a stretch with the wheelchair shit, but like, well, maybe not when you really think about it, but yeah, you get my point. But anyways, 2024, we did have some glimpses of the sun, such as Stellar Blade, but for the most part, we got shit like Concord, Tosh from Dragon Age.
So, I'm non-binary.
Shut your bitch ass the fuck up!
Mangela from Silent Hill 2, the Star Wars girl from Star Wars Outlaws, and a bunch of other disgusting, ugly creatures LARPing as women. Then now we are in like the current year, the year 2025, and what do we have to look forward to? What do we have look forward to goon to? The Manchin Fable 4 girl, Joanna Manchin Dark, and Usual June, which I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemies to goon to, like seriously. If you are gooning to any of those, you must be real down bad, and I don't blame you with how grim and dark it has become. We never needed more women representation in gaming because, as I showcased, it was always there. From the 80s with Miss Pac-Man and Princess Peach, to the 90s with Lara Croft, Jill Valentine, to the 2000s with Bayonetta. And no, to all you fucking Soylent drinking dumbass redditors out there, gaming hasn't always been woke either. Being attractive, slim, and fit isn't an unrealistic body proportion, as these morons would like to claim you to believe. It is what we should all strive to be and love. There's a reason why if you call a woman Lizzo or as beautiful as Lizzo, she isn't going to take it kindly, because despite Lizzo trying to gaslight you into thinking, you know, being 300 pounds and looking like the literal shit emoji is beautiful, it's not. Everybody knows it's not. It was never beautiful. We are not incels or whatever because we don't give in to your fucking delusions, you morons. We are tired of being spoon-fed this bullshit, and we are tired of the normalization of ugliness, and no amount of retards on Blue Sky or Redditors with 1 million karma seething every single day over us will ever convince any of us that we are in the wrong and that being fat is healthy, because we have what they lack, a functioning brain. We need to make women great in video games again. No more girl bosses, no more ugly, disgusting creatures LARPing as women. We want true, authentic, big melon women with curves and shit. But yeah, if you enjoyed, make sure to share the video, like and subscribe, as I really hope this video did a good job at showcasing the degradation of the modern gaming industry and also how they have been ruining our childhood franchises one by one by poisoning them with this woke DEI bullshit. Also remember, it's not just the AAA side doing this or just the West. The Japanese are also slowly caving into the political correctness bullshit. Indie games are also full of it. But yeah, being healthy and attractive is not unrealistic body proportions. But yeah, stay based, stay Latina pilled, and don't be a soy boy bitch. Alright, goodbye.